Listening to the radio in a realized conscious state is like hearing music being played inside a fishbowl, and knowing that somewhere beneath the plastic coral is the sound of Gladys Knight's midnight train to Georgia. Yet I always dreamt of an enlightenment in front of far greater Himalayas than the way the dirty dishes are piling up on the kitchen sink. I couldn't have imagined that as my body made shapes shuffling around my apartment space, that it would be in not doing the housework that I would start to feel my peace. And not in cleaning the car or fixing the holes in my socks or doing anything really to put the place right. But in not doing so, I would start to feel really good. It might sound callous, but the goal of a fix-up or a DIY project is how time mortifies you in a very literal sense. It mortifies you in a way where you do not even see it coming. So as you scrape the food from last night's dinner plates, you even think you are the one that is humouring time. How dare you? I hope you know that the only humour taking place is the joke being made of you. The fixer-upper, the one trying to make the house just right, just a niche little space, when the only house you should be thinking about is the one where the soul resides. The house of soul and jazz. I've been listening to this nice little spot on Radio 4, Jazz and Soul in the Afternoons, and I've been tuning in, making sure that while I do so, I do not do a single other thing. Just allow the way that sometimes time is too much. I tell you it's too much, and I let it drown me in a scat solo that is otherworldly. I've been looking forward to this Coltrane special, I've been finding that the more relaxed I became, the more resolved I was to letting the house become a mess, the more progressive my taste in jazz was becoming. And Coltrane, well, he really was the man, There's no one quite like him. If you want an artist to make the way time splurges on a Sunday afternoon, a piece which is a master work, you can't go wrong with Coltrane. And the radio, BBC 4 it was, they were playing this Coltrane special. This was progressive jazz at its finest. And I was proud of the BBC. I was proud of BBC 4 for supporting such radical concerts, not feeling the need to entertain per se. But anarchism is a temporal thing, and when people hear a beat without order, they might get a punch on for chaos. If they have nothing to do, the same is true. And BBC, they were letting it play. I had my eyes closed. I felt far away. I was getting way, way out of my head. I couldn't see angel wings or anything, but I could start to discern the seat of a bar stool. And that's when the solo was coming to an end. And that's when the radio host, they chimed in and they said the next song, it would be Giant Sleep, Coltrane's Giant Sleep. And do you know what we should do? We should make our own giant sleep, our own giant steps to cleaning our apartments, to getting done all those things we procrastinated about for days and weeks and months. We should get them done, and we should call in the show and tell them about it. Idle hands and the devil's work and all that. But I was somewhere way off the body, the soul was way off the body, when I had caller number 1 say that he had unpacked an entire week's worth of shopping to a saxophone solo. Well, bravo, kind sir. While you were unpacking your broccoli and your pieces of ham and combats, I was somewhere off the body in a special place for the soul. I wanted to call up the show then, you know. I had a telephone. I had stories to tell. I could speak about that mouse, the one that had been turning around in my head, chasing its own tail, ever since the host had mentioned calling in and talking about the jobs we'd got done. But I resisted. As I said, I was in my realized place. I was transcendent. I was free. And I was there, back at the bar stool, in a second. I could see it clearly now. There was a bar and some candle lights and all the whiskies you could care for lining the back shelf. And when the barman asked what I was having, well, you know, I almost replied, "I know what a tarry hallucination, sir." For I swear I was there. I could see it all. I could hear the music, no longer the BBC 4, but something more. Not even the sound of music in my own head. It was a live band. It was the way that a jazz band plays on the stage, and I was cheering a lot. And the bartender gestured to come forward closer. He leaned right against my ear. He had something to say, and I really expected it was going to be whether I wanted a peat whiskey. And I was ready to reply, "Well, yes, sir, I do." But then I heard a voice I didn't expect. It was a voice which was very BBC 4, too BBC 4 for a bartender at a jazz club. And I'll tell you what he said. He said that listeners should call into the show if, like him, they too were having a problem with out of control biscuit consumption. What metaphorical crumbs those were. What metaphorical crumbs of the state of humanity's soul, when the only way we can find to entertain ourselves, to fill our boring and spare hours, is to talk about the number of digestive biscuit crumbs at the bottom of the barrel. Well, of course, my concentration was broken, wasn't it? I was no longer at the club. I was back in my room, sitting in my chair, and the radio was playing, and I thought, I've got a telephone, haven't I? I can call up the number. I've got stories to tell, things to say. I pick up the phone. I get my voice ready, you know, my I'm calling the BBC professional voice, and I dial the number. But as the phone's ringing, it does occur to me that I might have discovered something which no other human ever knew. That when you close your eyes and sit alone and the room is very dark, it does lead to lights up. But I'll tell you what those lights up are. The overhead lighting of the stage at your favourite jazz bar. Hello, is that the BBC? Yes. I'd like to leave a comment for the Jazz BBC 4 radio show. They're having a call in about over-the-top biscuit consumption. And I've got a thing or two to say, my own story to tell. Never reveal your true intention. Yes, I'll hold. So there I was, holding on the line, you know, waiting to say my piece, and I was possessed with a kind of confidence which was almost godly, and certainly the way that Coltrane felt during that 27-minute, 30-second solo. Oh, I'm live on the air? Oh, okay then. Well, I'll tell my story. Here goes. All of man's problems lie from his inability to sit alone in a room. Then I hung up. I ran, you know. I ran so fast that the rush to my head was almost enlightenment in itself, and I sat down. I closed my eyes again. In a second, I was already traveling back to that jazz club, back to the bar, and then it occurred to me, it wasn't the mouse turning round in my head anymore. It was a different kind of mouse. The type of mouse which is a French philosopher chasing its own tail. And I thought of Pascal, I thought of Blaise Pascal, and I wondered how many people did get that Pascal reference. For he was a man that sat alone in a room. He knew all about it, and he believed that if you sat alone in a dark room in silence, you would find your peace and light. But I tell you what he didn't know. He didn't know what I had discovered. That in fact, when you sit alone in that dark room and you see the light is in fact the upper stage lighting at the jazz club. It's the light on the bar. It's the light, the way your head starts to feel as you down your fourth whiskey, and you start to see Coltrane and Davis, the bar, saluting to you. They're choosing the finest whiskey known to man, and damn God, you are free. You are free, because all enlightenment leads straight to the light, straight to the light of Coltrane.